Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, the last time, this time for real, is now. And we're going to move on from 2025. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993. Happy New Year to all of you. Hope you had a great New Year's and are off to a great start to your 2026. But unfortunately, we're going to be living the past just for one more night and talking about 2025 one last time. I meant to do this video a couple days ago. Unfortunately, I was not prepared, had other things going on, and so we're going to do this video now, which is my final wrap-up, my final thoughts on John Cena's 2025 Farewell Retirement Tour. Now, we're going to kind of merge two things together with this, though. Originally, when John Cena announced his retirement back at Money in the Bank 2024, I had said I wanted to do a list. Similar to like what Cody Rhodes did whenever he left WWE and made a list of goals of like what he wanted to do and people he wanted to fight after he left the company. I wanted to do something like that, except of course just talk about like what I wanted from John Cena's retirement tour. But since I never got to do it, I thought, for giving my overall thoughts on John Cena's final year, tied in with that list. And unfortunately, I didn't have everything prepared before New Year's Eve, so I wasn't able to do that until tonight. But I'm here tonight. This is the first official live stream on my brand new 4K camera that I got from my wife. Quality is looking good so far, I will say. Thank you as always. Yep, things look pretty good, and the stream looks great. For some reason, the intro was still lagging a little bit, but I'm going to figure that out as well. But yeah, I'm still enjoying the upgrade. Before we move on, though, I do want to also just address a couple things I said I was going to do this week I didn't get to do. Because I was really interested in doing a SmackDown review from last week's SmackDown, I was going to review Raw and SmackDown this week and next week's episode of Raw. I unfortunately was not able to have the time to review Raw this week, and I'm not going to review SmackDown this week. But I will review next week's episode of Raw. After that, though, I will be going back on my Raw and SmackDown review hiatus, and as of now, because next week I'm going to be busy getting ready for a business trip. The following week I have my business trip. And then the week after that is Saturday night's main event. So that's going to be kind of nuts trying to do all those reviews and Saturday night's main event. So, and then the following week's Rumble. So I'm probably going to wait until after Royal Rumble to possibly bring back Raw and SmackDown reviews. Maybe. I'm still kind of like in that like burnout stage where it's like I'm not feeling them right now, but I'm itchy to do them a little bit. So we'll see how I am after Rumble, but still expect some other stuff, you know, in the meantime. I know I keep saying it's coming. The best and worst match of video series is getting close to having its first video being ready to be produced. So we're going to definitely be hopefully releasing that soon. My goal is to hopefully finish most of it, get more done the week I'm away. So that's like my project I'm going to do in my free time. So hopefully by the end of January, at least 2014s will be released. But once I get that project done, I will definitely hopefully be able to open up to more things outside, of course, what I've going on in my personal life as well. So just a few little channel updates, and to say here's the plans to start for beginning of 2026. And of course, you will be seeing my Rumble recap and review videos from last year sometime this month, and of course a Royal Rumble print and match card as well. So all of that is to come, and still a few more topic videos. And I also, because I wanted to check it out, and I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but I will do so, is AEW's World's End. I didn't get to watch it yet. I didn't get to watch Dynamite this week yet either. But I'll probably wait until after I watch World's End, because I was interested in that card. So, please, if I didn't warn already, no spoilers. Anyway, so let's check the live chat before we get started. Then we'll get started with the stream. We got Tyler in the live chat, happy 2026. And, well, I didn't say this beforehand, but I guess I know the results of the Fatal 4-Way. MJF must have won it. I'll get my thoughts, of course, on that. Of course, when it happens, I guess I'll watch the show. But I guess I already know the results for World's End. But no big deal, you didn't know. So I'm not going to, be upset about it. But that's all we got so far in the live chat. So let's roll in and let's talk about this list. So this list actually has 10 parts to it. The longest part is going to be the number 8 spot, which I mentioned the dream opponents I would have wanted to see considered for John Cena's retirement tour. So, like I said, this is going to have a mixture of different things. Before I start the list, let me give my overall thoughts on the retirement tour. It was better than Kurt Angle. Definitely, for sure. I'm sorry. Kurt, unfortunately, I love the guy, did not look great in that last run he had with WWE. If you talk about looking like a complete shell of your former self, that was Kurt Angle. He just, he was in no shape to be putting on any sort of a quality match. I still remember when he did that freaking moonsault in his last match at WrestleMania 35. Literally gripped onto my seat because I was there live, because I thought he was going to lay on his head. That was scary. And all of his opponents, I thought, especially when he was like wrestling everybody once a week on Raw, I felt like a lot of them had to really tone it down to believably put on a quality match with Kurt, because they were all sad. I am sorry, they were all so sad to watch. For John Cena, who hung it up when he knew that his body had had enough, I would say most of the matches John really went all out, and I thought he looked good in. Of course, the ones where he was a heel, he was playing an old school type heel, which we'll get to that momentarily. That mentality I thought worked, but I would say the only 2 matches, let me think here. Rumble. Because before this year, the past couple times I saw John Cena wrestle before that, he looked really gassed out. So I was worried his match quality was not going to be that good. Were some things overproduced a little in his matches? Kinda. Were there things that, could have been better? Yes. But I would say the only 2 matches I thought John didn't look that great in was the Rumble he was in, to be honest. He didn't really do much. I mean, yes, he put over Jey Uso, but he really didn't do much in that Rumble. He looked a lot better, I thought, in Chamber. Like I said, the WrestleMania match, I don't knock on that one because of him. Again, he was playing an old school type heel. He played the role properly in the match. But the only other match I would say he had that I didn't like was the WrestlePalooza match with Brock Lesnar. And thank God, Brock Lesnar and Logan Paul, neither of them were his final opponents. Yes, Gunther was not a favorite either to be a final opponent, but rather Gunther than Brock Lesnar and Logan Paul. Now, I was fine with them doing them when they did them, but the Brock Lesnar match, that's the only one I was just like, why did we do this? There was no point in having the Brock Lesnar wrestle's final match. But his retirement tour, to me, was them trying to do a mixture of nostalgia with a brand new character, but not too much of like celebration, not too many really huge moments. Honestly, if they would have followed up better with the heel turn, I think that would have happened, because it was more so like, okay, first part of the year, we experimented him with a heel. And then when he dropped the title at SummerSlam, it's okay, he just has a few more dates, let's just go full on nostalgia John Cena. Because, I don't know, like the tour felt like, it felt very average. It didn't feel like it was as special as it needed to be. We more so just gotta, let's just check this off the list, check this off the list, check this off the list, and we're done. Is there really many memorable moments you'll remember from this tour? Me personally, no. But you may think differently. There may be people who may have absolutely loved this tour. There may be people who thought this tour was a colossal failure. If I would give it an overall grade, they tried some things, but they also just took the safe way out of a lot of payoffs. I would probably give the tour a C+. A C+ as in, I was close to giving it just a C. But then I thought, well, the heel turn was a huge risk and whatnot. They tried some new things. But overall, it just didn't light the world on fire. And honestly, it was probably also the biggest focus of 2025 for WWE. And isn't it ironic that even back when, 10 years ago when we were tired of Cena and we wanted him to go heel, it's like, with how many people he should have put over but didn't. And then, we get the booking we got for his retirement tour. It's kind of like, okay, we all acknowledge him as one of the greatest of all time, but his career has definitely personified the idea of, like, life isn't fair. You can't get everything you always want. Going all the way down to even his final match, when fans were outraged that he tapped out to Gunther. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about these things, and then we're just going to move on from 2025 and get into 2026. So, obviously, the thing I wanted to see John Cena do for sure is win his 17th world title. You can't have him just tie Ric Flair and, like, not even give him an attempted storyline or some sort of, like, reason for him not to go after number 17. Now, I know a lot of people were disappointed with, I got a message from Robbie One Kenobi. I'll get to that in a second. People were disappointed that John Cena won it as a heel, which I can understand why, especially with the career personified. But to give a quick preview for when we talk about the heel turn, again, it's something they had set up. Had they not had the roots for the heel turn set up, I feel like it would have been a little bit easier to digest John Cena being a babyface his entire last year. But, again, they had something set up for him to go heel. The simple storyline of, like, he hadn't won a singles match before this year since 2018. And that was weighing on John. And obviously, he knows his time is running out. So, of course, as a normal human being, you would expect him to get a little desperate. So, obviously, that's what I wanted to happen. Now, it happening as a heel, again, we'll talk about that when we talk about the heel turn. Before we move on to the number 2, I do want to play Robbie's messages, and as always, and that's a some type of pause challenge for backyard sports leagues. Let's see, Robbie, okay. Here we go. He got 2 messages for me.
Mikey, happy New Year, buddy. Yeah, man, happy blessed New Year to you and the family. I hope everybody's doing well.
Thank you.
And congratulations on that big news you shared recently. So I'm wishing you and Ashley the best for that next journey.
Thank you very much.
So I wanted to say that I saw your video expressing your opinion on if you believe Triple H's booking this past year was as terrible as people said it was. And, you know, everybody has their own opinions, you know. Yes. I totally agree that 2025 WWE, while not extremely terrible, didn't have that fire and momentum as the previous years.
Exactly.
So going into 2026, I'm hoping that they can bounce back, learn from their mistakes, and we can have a better year creatively. But I agree with what you said, that it wasn't terrible. You know, it could have been a lot worse, but, you know, it wasn't terrible.
Which, again, getting back to that, and I'll even say this too, maybe John Cena's retirement tour is something that they just heavily relied on to be the highlight of 2025. They probably didn't want anything to overshadow it. So that could have been a factor as well in it too, as to why 2025 wasn't really the most lit on fire year. And again, it still boggles me that people are just like, Vince McMahon would have had it better. Vince McMahon would have had babyface John Cena shoved up the ass the entire time. And we would have thought it was boring, same old shit. Just saying. So, anyways, next part of Robbie's message.
Now, for those complaining about Triple H so much that they want Vince McMahon back in creative.
Oh boy.
To those fans that are like, I don't want to say desperate, but are that upset with Triple H over recent bookings that they want Vince back, let me give him a little laundry list of things to remember during Vince's time.
Oh dear.
Roman Reigns smothered in dog food by Baron Corbin.
Yes.
Baron Corbin bringing out the Roman Reigns mascot.
Oh, God.
2 consecutive Hell in a Cell matches with no clear winner. Both had no decisive finishes.
Yes.
Lacey Evans' attempted push in the women's division. And, of course, you know about her theme song and everything. Dean Ambrose wearing a gas mask looking like Bane. Should I continue?
I guess so. He has one more.
Oh, and let's not forget Jason Jordan as Kurt Angle's illegitimate son. Enzo and Cass breaking up. Abs Anderson, Old Day, Ring Post Itis, Doctors Gallows and Anderson, Bailey getting screwed over at Extreme.
He definitely previewed some of my worst matches for 2016 when I get to that list. Sorry, Robbie.
Rules. I mean, I could go on and on and on. All the toilet humor, you know, urine, trouble towards Drake Maverick pissing himself. Like, if fans really want Vince back, they really need to consider everything I just said.
I 100% agree.
Because I know there are times we can get really upset and worked up in the moment and we say something and then we look back at it and we're like, you know what, I didn't mean to say that. I really hope they consider that laundry list I just dropped.
No, 100% agreed for sure. And I'll say this. If, like, business-wise, with TKO and whatnot and the pricing being ridiculous, yes, I definitely can see that. Like if Vince McMahon just wanted to be in charge of that aspect, I would have been okay with that. As long as he kept his hands away from creative, I would have been okay with that. Like, him, you know, not pricing out families and whatnot, yes. Like, as a businessman, I would still be okay with him being involved. But yes, as far as like being like, you know, the creator and whatnot, the content stuff, it's like, no. Like, again, like Robbie said, like, would you rather have that, or would you rather have had this in 2025 when it was like I don't want to take risks, let's play the safe type booking? And once again, as I said, John Cena trying not to overshadow John Cena's retirement tour could have been the main reason why that happened. But Robbie has always made very good points, so I thank you for that, Robbie. But the second thing I wanted to see happen was him to win the IC title and become a Grand Slam champion. I would have thought that was, how could you call John Cena one of the greatest of all time and not have him be a Grand Slam champion? And honestly, I thought that moment when they had him win the title in his hometown and his last appearance as a wrestler in his hometown was beautifully done. Chef's kiss. I loved it. And he got to put over Dominic Mysterio and give Dominic another thing to get him good heat on. He can say, that was very weird. He can say he beat John Cena. And Judgment Day had a little bit of fun with it too. So that I'm glad happened as well too, the way it did. Heck, I'll even say this also. If John Cena would have already had his 17th world title before this retirement tour, and they gave him the IC title, and they really wanted to keep him babyface, they could have had him treated like his US Open challenge. That would have been fine, especially if he would have worked with some NXT talent as well too. Which, that's coming up in a second about the NXT thing with him. But number 3, participate in yearly traditional matches one last time. He got to be in Rumble. He got to be in Chamber. He was not in Money in the Bank because he was champion, of course, but you could have had him in there in some capacity, maybe. Heck, I'll even say this for the heel turn. He could have gotten himself in Money in the Bank as a heel if he's trying to ruin wrestling and take the Money in the Bank briefcase for himself. Now that would have been good heel heat on him, but I will of course get to that later on. What else was there? Oh, I do kind of wish he would have been in War Games. I do like that he put over Dominic Mysterio and got that brief from the IC title, but I felt like a legend like him, you should have had him in War Games. Just saying, but that didn't happen, so that was a little disappointing. So, partially half right, half wrong, and whatnot on that one. So I got somewhat of that one. Number 4, main event WrestleMania. John Cena before this year had not main evented WrestleMania since WrestleMania 29. That's right. And he still, after that, was still getting the same old John Cena booking. So I figured they would do that in his retirement tour. His story would be the biggest story going to WrestleMania, the greatest of all times, final WrestleMania. Why wouldn't he not main event it? So that happened as I thought so. Number 5, again, I'm kind of flying through these, but some of the last couple we'll spend a couple more minutes on. My number 5 was work a program as Doctor of Thugonomics. If you want nostalgia, besides just having him fight other wrestlers who, let's be honest, are not in the best shape as they were back then, we weren't going to get CM Punk and John Cena from 2011 and 2025. The match was fine, but it wasn't what it was back in 2011. We of course got the pipe bomb from John Cena and the Doctor of Punkonomics with Split Punk. I thought that was pretty funny, to be honest. So we got that, but I still wish he would have done one program as the Doctor of Thugonomics. But we didn't get that, unfortunately. So that was a bummer. We missed out on that. Okay, so basically number 7 and 8 kind of tie in. So let's talk about the big elephant in the room in number 6. Turn heel. So I did a video back in the summer on this because to me, it was very quickly after John Cena turned heel, the fans crapped on it. We have been wanting to see John Cena turn heel for the longest time. And it's like we finally get it, and they hated it. Because they wanted to actually cheer for him. Now, to the fans who actually have been true John Cena fans, I get it. But to the ones who, one day they're saying they want to turn heel, then the next day they're saying it's bullcrap, they shouldn't have. Like how they were freaking outraged that John Cena didn't win the Royal Rumble, but Jey Uso did, and Jey Uso got the heat for it. I'm like, are you serious? Again, did you want John Cena to be same old the whole way through? To me, that would have been worse than what we got, if I'm being honest. But the way they produced the heel turn was awesome. Although, throwing in The Rock for a few weeks was kind of a little bit of a desperate move, I thought. especially because after the moment happened, which was still legendary, we never saw The Rock again. And then Travis Scott helping John Cena win the title really dampened that. And then, of course, Travis Scott never showed up. So that's one of two reasons why the heel turn flopped. First off, mainly, The Rock and Travis Scott didn't follow through. They were involved with that. They had it set up. John Cena had the moment set up as well because, again, they were going off that story where he knew his time was running out and he only had so much time left. So that is, of course, one thing. But the second thing is, again, as I mentioned in that video, John Cena at 48 is not the same John Cena at 32? However old he was back in 2012 whenever he was supposed to turn heel, but then they got cold feet and didn't do it during his feud with The Rock. John had everything ready to go, but they just got cold feet and didn't go through with it. But to me, John Cena played the appropriate heel he had to play at this stage of his career. Again, the guy who, hasn't won a singles match in a long time, knew his chance at winning the championship one last time was running out. Obviously, desperation was sinking in. So why wouldn't he go down that dark path? And play the simple story, again, how he first started. The first thing he said after he turned heel was, I have been a part of an abusive 25-year relationship. And he said how, you don't get, just because my story's changed, you don't get a new song, you don't get this, you don't get that. He kept everything the same because that's what we crapped on for years. It makes sense. And basically, he was going to get his revenge and ruin wrestling. To me, a very old school step. And again, it's not the same John Cena we would have gotten back 13 years ago when it was supposed to happen. But this is more appropriate to where John Cena was at now. And again, I don't hold him responsible for that WrestleMania main event being a flop. I more so hold it so is the finish and the execution because there was no follow through from Travis Scott getting involved. So I like that they turned him heel. That was the right move to do with what they had set up. It's just everything else didn't follow with it. What was set up dissolved, and the fans just didn't want to see it. People wanted to cheer John Cena in his final run. I still wish he would have finished his career as a heel, which ties into the last thing on the list I had, which was, let me see, is it the last thing or is it number 9? Actually, it was number 9. But I'll get to that, of course, because that'll also tie into whenever we talk about his final match. But even as a heel, besides winning the world title and just crapping on the fans, what did he do to ruin wrestling? Really, the only inkling I ever got of him, really digging into that, was when he had that promo on Saturday Night's Main Event when he wrestled R-Truth, and he confronted Jey Uso backstage, and he said, wouldn't it be sad if a YouTuber won the world title? And as much as I do not like Logan Paul, as much as I do not like him as a person, as an in-ring competitor, he could be a believable world champion. And if he would have won because of John Cena, that would have really, really worked. He could have had that. He could have had, I don't know, like I said, he could have interfered in Money in the Bank and been an impact on who won the Money in the Bank briefcase. Heck, I'll even say I wanted Seth Rollins to be the one to cost Cody Rhodes a world title at WrestleMania last year. Because the simple story of Seth saying, I gave you that title, now I can take it right back from you. And that could have been how Seth Rollins wins the title. Could have been even more of a wrinkle on the vision, whatnot. Actually dig deep into this whole idea of him ruining wrestling. Because he barely did as a heel. And what happened? They got cold feet. They just abruptly made him back to a babyface after SummerSlam. That felt very deflating. Honestly, I still think If John Cena's last match was the SummerSlam match he had with Cody, if that was his last match, that would have been the perfect ending. Wasn't the case, but, whatever. But yeah, that's my brief rundown on the heel turn. So, number 7 was have a feud in NXT. If John Cena really was about paving the way for the next generation, I felt he should have had some sort of program on NXT television. And there's a few names in the list I'm about to give for number 8 for dream opponents I wish they would consider. Because they mainly gave John opponents that he's already fought. Not too many that really benefited from actually wrestling John Cena this year. So dream matches. Obviously, Cody Rhodes was the one that we knew he would fight at WrestleMania. And it was very fitting. Definitely CM Punk, for sure, as well. We had that at Night of Champions. Dominic Mysterio was also one I would have said so too. We got him at Survivor Series. Carmelo Hayes. I wanted that one. When he turned face and got momentum in that last time is now tournament, I'm like, he could fit well too. I would have liked to have seen him fight John as well, but that didn't happen. Obafemi. I know a lot of people wanted to see him also be in that last time is now tournament and fight John Cena. If you want to establish another new monster for the future, one that could use the victory that could have needed it, unlike Gunther, who was John's last opponent, Obafemi would have been the next best choice for your next monster. Heck, he could have fought John Cena at WrestlePalooza instead of Brock Lesnar. If John was going to lose that night, you could have had him fight Obafemi instead. But we got Brock instead. Another NXT talent I would have been okay with, Ethan Page. I do like myself some Ethan Page. I liked him in AEW. They didn't capitalize on him. I think he's doing great in NXT. And honestly, that be it like someone who's more meant for character work than in-ring work, that would have been a great feud to do with John Cena and Ethan Page. That's another one. AJ Styles, obviously, their series of matches in 2016 and 2017, phenomenal. And we did get to have that match this year, and it was a nostalgic masterpiece. Because both men about to retire. John's done. AJ's going to be done in 2026. Just a nostalgic masterpiece, and definitely one of my favorite matches of the year. It is going to be on somewhere in my top 10 for best matches of 2025. And I would still say either that match or the match with Cody at SummerSlam was the two best John Cena matches this year, I gotta say. So there's that one there as well. Drew McIntyre. So John did wrestle Drew in a tag match with him and Cody taking on Logan and Drew shortly after SummerSlam. I would like to have seen them fight one-on-one. I remember they were teasing it when John briefly came back at the end of 2018 and early 2019. And he was supposed to be in the 2019 Rumble. But then he got hurt and got written out of the match. And we didn't see him again until, he came back for his feud with Bray Wyatt for the Firefly Funhouse match. So that was still a match I wanted to see. We didn't get it, unfortunately. So there's that one. So obviously Kurt Angle would not have been able to wrestle John Cena for his final match. John Cena also should have been Kurt Angle's final opponent. But let me throw this out there. I know he's hurt, right? He's hurt, but he's supposed to be back soon. What if Kurt Angle would have come back and had Chad Gable be John Cena's final opponent? Kind of give us the modern day Kurt Angle versus John Cena? I think that would have been very cool to see. But we didn't get that. And hopefully Chad Gable's going to be back soon. If there was anyone from NXT, though, that definitely should have fought John Cena, it was Javon Evans. Especially with how they're really showcasing, they're doing this thing where they have, some NXT talent where they're giving them somewhat of a spotlight before they get called up, and now they're going to be signed as a free agent. They're doing it with Trick Williams right now as well, too, but he hasn't wrestled a match yet. Javon Evans, It's doing what Carmelo Hayes was doing before he got called up. He's getting a lot of TV time on the main roster. And if that was the case, why wouldn't they have given him to be the NXT talent to fight John Cena? So I would say technically out of all the technical NXT talent for this year, Javon Evans was probably my number one. But there's, of course, somebody else who I was one of my 3 people I wanted to see be John Cena's final opponent, Joe Hendry. With how popular and how over Joe Hendry was, and the statement he was making, how did you not find a way to do John Cena versus Joe Hendry, and then yet teased us with the idea with revealing The Miz pulled Joe Hendry's name out of the drawing? That still frustrates me. That was a match that should have happened. John Cena versus Joe Hendry. That also would have been a good final match for John Cena as well. Especially if WWE is super high on Joe Hendry. That would have been a great way to end Cena's career by putting over Joe Hendry. Karrion Kross, I know he left the company after his contract expired, but I kind of felt like, if there's anybody that also could have benefited from John Cena, could have been Karrion Kross. Definitely when he was doing the devil on the shoulder character and whatnot. Heck, also that could have played into. I also forgot to mention this for the heel run. I was kind of saving this for my number 9 spot, but I did like though during his heel run that he had his moments where he showed he was regretting how he was acting, and definitely should have had something involving Karrion Kross when he was being like that devil on the shoulder character. Could have really dug deeper into John Cena's soul with that. Heck, and also I forgot to mention this. Going back to the heel turn also, personally, if they still wanted to do the heel turn, but not include The Rock and Travis Scott, I would have done the heel turn at WrestleMania. Made it just like how it was WrestleMania 17 when Stone Cold Steve Austin turned heel. I would have done it that way instead, and that would have been a more powerful WrestleMania moment than having Travis Scott help John Cena win the title. And I feel like also it would have definitely been more of a standout moment. A legendary moment. They would have done it that way instead, with having John win a title. Heck, again, if they wanted to have Seth Rollins help win the title, had that be involved in the heel turn as well. Just saying. So I forgot to mention that there as well. But yeah, Karrion Kross could have been nice with that devil on the shoulder thing. One nostalgic one they didn't get to do because he got hurt, Kevin Owens. If they would have ran back John Cena and Kevin Owens again after the series match they had in 2015, especially that first one at Chamber 2015, outstanding. And I think Kevin would have been able to do it. But he got hurt, unfortunately. But that's one nostalgia one that we missed out on, unfortunately. LA Knight. How did they not get LA Knight versus John Cena in there? Joe Hendry and LA Knight are 2 of the 3 people I want him to have for his last match. That was predicting. Again, Chad Gable would have been number 4, but he was hurt. But yeah, LA Knight, John Cena definitely should have happened for sure. But that didn't. That's disappointing. R-Truth. They really. So R-Truth, as you remember, he got involved right when they were getting ready to release him and not renew his contract. But then the fans had backlash, and they had no choice but to bring him back. And of course, they had him cost John that tag match, and then they just squandered back to regular R-Truth. That would have been someone else that would have been okay with dethroning John Cena. Heck, I would have accepted R-Truth as Cena's final opponent. Or Ron Killings. But there's that one. A couple more here. Randy Orton, obviously. Although, yes, the match was definitely very overproduced. John Cena got hit with 15 RKOs in that match. It was a little ridiculous. John Cena also looked like freaking French Stewart, the actor who played Inspector Gadget, Inspector Gadget 2, and Marv in Home Alone 4. That movie was horrible. Home Alone 4. I remember when he did a beatdown on Randy, the way his body was he looks like freaking French Stewart. But yeah, that one, yes. Another NXT talent, Ricky Saints. If they would have, that's another one that Cena could have done a great feud with Ricky. Sami Zayn, we did get that match when Sami brought back the U.S. Open Challenge. So yes, I'm glad we ran that back, because that match she had when Cena was the United States champion was awesome. The Rock. They kind of set the table with it, where if John was eventually going to turn back to being a face, obviously he would want to get his revenge on the person who, he sold out to, The Rock. Maybe a nostalgia act, because they were 1-1. So maybe if they wanted to do a third one at Survivor Series, maybe I would have accepted it. But we didn't get that. Four more. The one person John Cena never got to wrestle, and it would not have happened because he's in AEW, but I think we almost got it for WrestleMania 34, but he got injured, was Samoa Joe. That was still probably the biggest swing and miss match I would say we got from all people's lists. LA Knight you could probably argue as well for, and Joe Hendry, but Samoa Joe, I wish we would have gotten that match. But of course Joe is in AEW, so we couldn't do that. Another person who is in AEW that I was hoping was going to come back for one match, because he was one of John's best rivals, was Edge, but that didn't happen. I got my hopes up when Edge got written off AEW television after All Out, because I knew his contract was expiring. And I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to come back, but what if he takes this time to go back and wrestle John? But he's actually overseas filming a movie. So that's a bummer that nostalgia didn't happen either. Now, last two are kind of a big surprise. RVD. Is RVD still wrestling? Because I know he made a couple occasional appearances 2 years ago in AEW. But just saying, if they wanted to run back from One Night Stand in 2026, in 2006 or whatever you want to call it, that would have been epic to relive. Modern day RVD. And then the last person on this list, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I kind of got the itch about it, because I thought how if they would have had a fight similar to what him and Kevin Owens had at WrestleMania 38, I would have accepted that for Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena. But we didn't get it, unfortunately. But that would have been a must-see thing as well. Would have been cool. But it didn't happen. But those are the 23 dream match opponents I would have mentioned for John for this year. We have two pieces left on this list. Number 9 was, I wanted him to either say, I quit, or tap out in his final match. That's right. I was going to say that back then. Now, when he was set up to fight Gunther, I thought I didn't want it to happen then, because it was too obvious that Gunther was going to be able to do it to John Cena. That's why I thought maybe John was going to win against Gunther, but he didn't. But honestly, I would have only wanted him to do that if he was still a heel. If it was like him fighting that demon and him finally being humbled by saying, I quit. But instead, he tapped out as a babyface to an already established Gunther. Again, I get why people are upset about it. It wasn't the worst thing in my opinion. Gunther is still, early in his career. He's already an established built resume, though. He really did not need it. I get it. But it does put some more heat on him, at least. Kind of gives him a little bit different arc to his character. And also, the story they were trying to tell was John Cena not giving up. He was accepting that his time is up. So, it's something I wanted to see. I do wish they would have done better with it. But, to me, it was what it was. I didn't hate it. It was what it was, though. Robbie, I will be checking the DMs in one second. I have one more piece I wanted to address. But number 10, and what I wish they would have done either during this year, since they had him as a heel, probably not, but they could have at least announced it after his last match. I wish he would have been announced he was going to get into the Hall of Fame. The way the year went down, I wish they would have announced it after his last match. that he was going to be going to the Hall of Fame. Because, I mean, yes, they've already announced Stephanie McMahon. I guess she's the headliner already. But why wouldn't they do it now? Like, why are they going to wait on John Cena to get into the Hall of Fame if he is done for sure? So, that was disappointing right there. But that's the list. And that's my full thoughts on John Cena's run. Like I said, there was a lot of nostalgia and... Oh, shoot, my baby's crying. A lot of nostalgia more so, but like very like safe playing. I wish there would have been some more bigger moments. Like, again, the heel turn being at WrestleMania. A feud in NXT. I wish he would have maybe had a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Or like dug deeper into the heel character with ruining wrestling and not just a go through the motion nostalgia act. Things could have been better, but it could have been worse. That's why I'm sticking with my grade of a C+ for John Cena's final run. Okay, so before I read the live chat, Robbie did leave me 2 more messages. Then I'm going to read the live chat, then I'm going to get out of here. So I believe we're down with these 2 right here.
You know what, Mike? I just thought of a few more. So, to keep it going, one last time, to those Triple H detractors out there that want their savior, Vince McMahon, to come back to creative, here's another little laundry list. Bobby Lashley's ass. Remember Bobby Lashley?
Oh, I thought you were going to say sisters.
Or whatnot?
Yeah,
like
the
Mr.
freaking
America,
poses.
Bobby Lashley's ass. And then Leo Rush as his hype man. Lashley. You know, do they really want that? Lashley, you know, breaking up Lana and Rusev's marriage on screen.
Don't remind me.
Liv Morgan as Lana's lover. Like, do they really want that? Oh, how about Shane McMahon as the best in the world?
One more.
And to round it off, Becky Lynch turning heel not once but twice in failed heel turns that no one wanted. Becky,
isn't it a miracle that the heel run she's having this year is so much better? Just saying.
Squashing Bianca as part of that second heel turn. Asuka and Charlotte as a very makeshift tag team, winning the women's tag team championships for a cup of coffee. You know, even though I didn't hate this, you remember good old James Ellsworth? Duh! Getting involved in both money. No, not that, but the other thing. Him helping Carmella beat Asuka twice in 2018.
Yes, the freaking pinata.
Still a James Ellsworth fan. You know, I liked his stuff in 2016, 2017, but I'll never forgive him for screwing Asuka over twice. So yeah, Ellsworth on a pole or Ellsworth in a cage.
And the pinata, yes. Definitely. I'm surprised you didn't mention Bobby Lashley's sisters in that for sure, Robbie. But yeah, like I said, I definitely would have much preferred this year than any of those other years with Vince McMahon and that crap. But I do have to wrap this up though, guys, because I do think baby call upstairs. But let me just read the live chat very, very fast before I go off the air here. My nephew's jumping in. Thank you, buddy. And Robbie was in there. Am I zesty? No, I'm not zesty. Cena's best match, Tyler thought, was AJ Styles, and his worst, Randy Orton. Best, I would say, is either Styles or Cody at SummerSlam. Worst was Brock, in my opinion. The Orton one was fine. It just kind of summed up that whole story, that whole rivalry in general. Overdone, in my opinion. I agree with WWE took the safe route throughout 2025. Obafemi not beating Cody is a prime example. Yes, definitely. But I'll say Triple H's booking that doesn't insult our intelligence over Vince. Exactly. And I thought the Asuka and Charlotte tag team could have been a good team. They could have done more with it, but it was just there for a quick second. And the only time I think Charlotte's ever been on the pre-show. Just saying, at Rumble 2021, whatever it was, I don't know. But I am going to wrap it up here, guys. I do believe I am needed upstairs, so I do want to get upstairs and be, a father. So, yes, guys, again, I know this was a little late, but hey, we had to go back to 2025 for one more second. Just recap John Cena's final year. Again, gave it a C+. Could have been better. Took some chances, but played it very safe. It's over. It's done. We're moving on. If you guys thoughts about all of this down in the comments section below, what are some of your dream opponents? Other things you would have wished that would have happened during John Cena's final run in WWE? Leave your guys thoughts down in the comments section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well, the Club of Demand 93, and also on TikTok and Instagram for the Club of Demand 1993. And I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!